Hello and welcome, dear listeners, to Bipolar Talks, a mindful space where we explore mental health topics deeply so that you can understand yourself better and feel empowered in your healing journey. In this episode, we will take a thoughtful and detailed dive into the fascinating difference between primary emotions and secondary emotions, because understanding this difference is often the key to learning how to process feelings in a way that truly heals rather than harms. Before we go further, I kindly invite you to like this video, leave a comment to share your thoughts, subscribe to our channel, and share this episode with someone who might need to hear it today, because by doing so, you help us reach more people who are struggling silently and give them hope. Now, take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt an emotion so strong that it confused you? Keep listening, because this episode will help you uncover what lies beneath those overwhelming feelings. Why processing emotions matters. Let me begin by asking, are you truly ready to start letting go of the painful and distorted feelings that seem to cling to you and make life harder than it needs to be? Many people live under the belief that if they stop fighting their emotions, they will end up stuck in a swamp of sadness, anger, or fear forever, unable to escape. This belief is understandable because emotions can feel intense and endless when we resist them. However, the truth is that emotions only begin to settle and transform when we allow ourselves to fully experience them without judgment. You see, healing is not about avoiding what hurts. It is about feeling it long enough to understand it. Just like a storm that eventually passes, emotions too move through us, if we let them. This means that you do not have to fear your feelings, because by allowing yourself to feel them, you actually open the door to feeling better in the long run. Think about this. Have you been resisting an emotion lately? What if, instead of resisting, you gently leaned into it to see what it has to teach you? Keep listening as we uncover how this works. What are primary and secondary emotions? To truly understand your emotional world, you first need to know that not every emotion you feel is exactly what it seems. Emotions themselves are neither good nor bad, but they can sometimes mislead us when they are built on misunderstandings, old fears, or distorted thoughts. Some emotions are pure and truthful, directly connected to what is happening in the present moment. Others, however, are layered and complex, built on top of other emotions as a way to defend ourselves. These layered emotions are often shaped by cognitive distortions, mental patterns that twist how we see reality, or by beliefs we learned long ago about what feelings are acceptable and which ones must be hidden. They can also come from habits of self-justification, where we cover up something vulnerable with something that feels more powerful or safer to express. Have you ever wondered why sometimes you feel one way on the surface, but deep down you know it's something else entirely? Stay with me. We're about to explore that difference in detail. Primary emotions, the honest messengers. Primary emotions are like the raw, untouched signals of your heart. They appear quickly, almost automatically, in direct response to an event. For example, when you lose someone you love, sadness naturally arises because it is an honest reflection of your loss. When you face danger, fear emerges because it is there to protect you. When something beautiful happens, joy fills you because it celebrates that moment. These emotions can be intense, and they often make you feel exposed or vulnerable, but they are deeply human and serve an important purpose. They connect you to reality, to other people, and to your own needs. They guide you toward actions that matter. Think of them as the body's way of saying, "This is what is happening. Pay attention." Do you recognize your own primary emotions, or do you sometimes rush past them before you even notice them? Keep listening. We're just getting started. Secondary emotions, the learned defenses. Secondary emotions, however, are different. They are not direct responses to life events, but rather reactions to the feelings you already have. They are emotions about emotions. They show up when your mind, often unconsciously, tries to protect you from the discomfort of your primary emotions. Imagine this. You feel sadness because you have to move away from your friends. That sadness is real and natural. But then guilt appears, because you tell yourself you should be happy for your family's opportunity. That guilt is a secondary emotion. It's layered on top of sadness. It doesn't reflect the original situation. It reflects how you feel about feeling sad. Secondary emotions are often learned. They come from messages you received growing up, from society, or from experiences where vulnerability felt unsafe. They may help you avoid pain in the short term, but over time, they disconnect you from your true feelings and from others. Think about a time when you felt angry but deep down it was really fear or hurt. Have you ever caught yourself in that pattern? Keep listening because we're about to explore why this matters. Common examples that might sound familiar. Let us explore more examples because real-life situations make this idea easier to understand. Suppose you receive a low grade on an important exam. The first emotion you feel might be disappointment, which is your primary emotion. It makes sense, you care about your performance and you know you could have prepared better. However, instead of simply feeling disappointed, you might react with anger, perhaps storming out of class. Later, shame might creep in because you realize your outburst was unnecessary. Both the anger and the shame are secondary emotions, layered on top of the original disappointment. Consider another example. You find out your family is moving to a new city. Initially, you feel sad because you will leave behind friends and familiar places. Yet soon, guilt appears because you think you should be happy about your father's new job. That guilt is secondary. It does not reflect the event itself, but rather your judgment of your sadness. Even in the workplace, you may have said to yourself, "I hate my boss." On the surface, it feels like an honest statement of emotion, but hate rarely exists alone. Underneath that hatred, there might be fear of criticism, fear of being undervalued, or fear of losing your job. When you stay stuck in hate, you have few options. You can complain, gossip, or quit. But when you uncover the underlying fear, you have choices. You can set boundaries, improve skills, or change perspectives. Which of these examples reminds you of a situation in your own life? Keep listening, because recognizing these patterns is the first step to change. The emotional mask. Why secondary emotions hurt? Secondary emotions often act like masks. They protect you from pain in the short term, but in the long run, they make your life more difficult. They keep your guard up, wall off your heart, and prevent genuine connection with others. While anger may feel strong and shame may feel safer than anger, both emotions can damage relationships and lead to loneliness, exhaustion, and emotional numbness. These emotions also fuel cycles of anxiety and depression because you are constantly reacting to something that is not the real issue. When you spend years covering fear with anger or hiding sadness with guilt, you lose touch with your authentic self. You become trapped behind a wall built by emotions that were meant to protect you, but now only keep you isolated. Do you ever feel like you're stuck in an emotional loop that never resolves? Keep listening, we're about to discuss how to break free. A closer look at what you're really feeling. Here's where the real transformation begins. When you pause and ask yourself, what am I really feeling underneath this reaction? You uncover the truth. For example, if you discover that your anger is actually fear, you suddenly have more choices. You can ask yourself, am I actually in danger right now? If not, you can calm the fear by reminding yourself you are safe. Or you may ask, am I afraid because I doubt my abilities? If yes, maybe you need to learn new skills or affirm the strengths you already have. When you dig beneath the surface, you find not just emotions but opportunities. Opportunities to grow, to set boundaries, to change perspectives, and to solve problems in ways that secondary emotions never allow. What emotion do you suspect is hiding beneath the ones you show to the world? Keep listening, because awareness opens the door to healing. Why we get stuck in secondary emotions. Why do we rely so much on secondary emotions if they hurt us? The answer lies in how we are taught to handle feelings. Many boys grow up hearing, "Don't cry, be strong." So they learn to express hurt or fear as anger because anger feels powerful. Similarly, many women grow up learning, "Don't get angry, be nice." So they swallow their anger and turn it inward as shame. These patterns feel safer, but they keep us trapped. Secondary emotions are comfortable only in the short term. They allow us to avoid vulnerability for a moment, but over time, they create more pain. They lead to broken relationships, constant stress, and a sense of emptiness because we never truly address what's underneath. Does this pattern sound familiar in your own life? Keep listening, we're moving toward how to break it. Difference between acting and understanding. Acting on secondary emotions often keeps you spinning your wheels. You might lash out, shut down, or withdraw, thinking you are protecting yourself, but in reality, you are avoiding the real issue. Secondary emotions are reactive. They push you to act quickly without reflection. In contrast, when you slow down to understand your feelings, you stop reacting and start responding. You become intentional. You are no longer controlled by the first wave of emotion because you have looked deeper and found the truth beneath it. Would you like to feel more in control of your emotions instead of letting them control you? Stay with me, the tools are coming next. Vulnerability is a superpower. When you are willing to feel your sensitive, primary emotions, you open the door to healing. Vulnerability may seem scary, but it is actually one of the greatest strengths a person can have. People who allow themselves to feel deeply build stronger relationships, find more peace, and live more fulfilling lives. This is because vulnerability connects you with others, it tells them you are human, and it invites them to be human with you. It also connects you to yourself, helping you understand what you truly need instead of covering it with defenses. Are you ready to see vulnerability not as weakness but as power? Keep listening, we're getting practical now. Practical tools to start now. Here is how you can begin this process today. The next time you feel overwhelmed by an intense emotion, pause. Take a deep breath. Name the emotion you are feeling. Then ask yourself, what is underneath this? Is there a softer, more sensitive emotion hiding there? Allow that emotion to exist without judgment, and instead of trying to push it away, make space for it. When you give yourself permission to feel, you also give yourself permission to heal. This process may take time, and it may not be easy at first, but it is worth it. Over time, you will notice that emotions no longer control you. They guide you. Which emotion are you willing to sit with today, just to see what it has to say? Think about it as we move to the last segment. Let's reflect together. Let us reflect on some examples. Jealousy may protect you from the pain of failure, but it leaves you bitter. Resentment may protect you from risking connection, but it leaves you lonely. Blame may protect you from guilt, but it leaves you feeling helpless. Hopelessness may protect you from trying again, but it leaves you stuck. When you stay on the surface, reacting to these protective emotions, you give up your power to change. But when you look underneath and find the truth, you open the possibility of growth and peace. So, what emotion are you ready to look beneath today? This is where transformation begins. Before we close, thank you so much for listening to this mindful episode of Bipolar Talks. If you found this helpful, please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, and share this episode so others can find these tools too. Your support helps us continue to create meaningful content for you and for others who need it. And please remember, this YouTube video from Bipolar Talks is for informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional help. If you are struggling with your mental health, please reach out to a qualified expert because you do not have to face this journey alone. Until next time, take a deep breath, stay curious about your feelings, and keep walking this path of growth, one mindful step at a time.